Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amy. If you're new here, thanks so much for coming. And if you're not new here, thanks so much for coming back. So today is 35-week update of my pregnancy. I don't even know at this point if I'm gonna share this video. I am gonna turn off my phone though. If you've been following along with my pregnancy so far, you'll know that my last update was at 30 weeks. I had been doing them every 2 weeks, or roughly every 2 weeks, and that was the plan. And we'll get into all this a little bit more later. But for right now, this is 35 weeks. So we're just gonna jump into how he is doing, how I'm doing, and then what's been going on. So 35 weeks, we have 5 weeks left, which is so close. It literally means that in 3 weeks, I could have a baby. Like, that's insane. I'm so excited and we're so ready to meet him. Everybody's just so happy and excited, and I'm gonna say excited again. Jacob always comes in and like at nighttime he'll give me a hug and tell me goodnight and give me a kiss before bed, and then he'll blow a kiss to my belly and say goodnight to the baby, and it's so adorable. He's always talking to him and just hugging him, and he does what he calls force hugs. So, you know, like he uses his Jedi force to give the baby a hug, and it's stinking adorable. Lily talks to him all the time and she just adores him. And the big kids are like super ready to meet him. I will go on record saying that Emma said that we got these new blankets. So I bought these new copper pearl swaddle blankets because a friend had some and they were so soft and so amazing, but all hers were like girly prints, and so I wanted some boy prints. And so I bought some new ones and they came in and I was just rubbing them. They were so soft. And I said, Emma, if I wrap your baby brother in this, will you babysit him? And she says, I'll babysit him no matter what he's wearing, always. I'm like, all right. I'm going on record saying that Emma has volunteered to babysit whenever I want her to. She did not specify a time frame. Anyway, so at 5 weeks, he is measuring about 5-ish pounds, 5¼ pounds, somewhere around there. He's about 18 inches long. This is all subjective because I don't even know what the average is. I want to say it's like 8½ pounds and like 20 inches or something like that, 21 inches. I don't know. All my babies have literally been 19, in the 19 inch range. So 19, 19¼ 19½, 19¾ I have short children. I'm 5'4", their dad is 5'5". It is what it is. We don't grow super long babies. So if I had to guess, I would guess that maybe he's not quite 18 inches, but he could be. Maybe he's just going to add another inch and then put on some fat. I don't know. That's approximate. He is about the size of a spaghetti squash, or if you are into movie culture, he would be about the size of the plate of spaghetti meatballs in Lady and Tramp. I don't know how they gauge that because it was a cartoon, but that's what the app says. He is head down right now. He spends most of his time in a left occiput anterior position, which basically just means that his head is over to the left side and his back is to the left and his limbs are facing sort of like it. Anyway, you can look it up. There's a whole like guide on it. But anyway, he is head down. So he kind of like rolls his back around a little bit and I can feel it. But for the most part, I feel his back on the left side and his little feet and hands and knees jabbing out over here on the right hand side. So, which is fine because head down is the most important part of this equation for birth. Of course you can give birth in other positions, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, head down. Feeling lots of movements like jabs, kicks, knees, elbows. Not as much with the rolling because he is getting a little more confined in there. So it's a little more difficult for him to move around. We are measuring still right on par. For those that don't know, you can kind of use, it's like a little cheat sheet. You can do a measurement from the top of your pubic bone to the top of your uterus, which is called the fundus, and in centimeters, and that should correspond roughly with the number of weeks that you are. So we're measuring right on track for where we should be at 35 weeks. Developmentally, he's all developed and stuff. His lungs are strengthening and his brain is still continuing to grow, but most of what he's doing right now is just growing fat and preparing to be outside of a climate controlled area. So he's doing really well. He's just kind of awaiting his debut, which is lovely. He's he's good to go. In theory, I could potentially have him at any time from this point forward and feel perfectly comfortable that he would be healthy and fine. But of course, we want him to stay in for longer than 35 weeks. So on to my symptoms. I have still been having Braxton Hicks. They're more frequent now, though obviously there's no pattern to them. I'm not like contracting regularly. Last week we were in the car for a really long time after leaving church. So we had to make a big drive up, like totally like north, and then come back down. And I didn't go to the bathroom before I left. And so I was having like a bit of, not what I would say regular contractions, but they were frequent Braxton Hicks, and they were very uncomfortable. So I came home, went to the bathroom, hydrated a whole bunch, and took a nap and a nice relaxing bath, and that seems to have calmed everything down. So I just have to remember to keep hydrated and go to the bathroom. Sometimes I don't actually feel like I have to pee, but my bladder's full and it irritates my uterus. So if I start feeling like, you know, contraction-y, I just go pee, and it usually fixes the problem. My insomnia, sleep was awful for me from about 30 weeks until about a week ago. I couldn't get to sleep. When I would wake up in the middle of the night to pee, I'd come back to bed and I couldn't go back to sleep, and I was exhausted. So that has gotten a little bit better, which again, we're going to touch on in a few minutes. I haven't had hemorrhoids this pregnancy. I realize that might be a lot of information for some of you. Every other pregnancy by this point, I have had hemorrhoids. I have not had them this pregnancy. I'm going to count that a win, because nobody likes the butt poking out when they're trying to prepare for other things coming out of other places. Like, it's just not comfortable. But I haven't had that problem. So, yay! Where else were we? Oh, migraines. I actually haven't had a migraine in a really long time. It has been a while since I've had to take any meds for headaches, which I'm super grateful for. My heartburn has basically gone away. If I eat something super late and then lay down, obviously, you know, like I have to give it time to like kind of slide down a little bit, but that hasn't been an issue. So all in all, I'm actually feeling like really good. Like, I feel really good. I'm not able to speak. That's what I can't do. I'm not able to move my body in ways like that I kind of want to sometimes. You know, just because I'm not shaped like what you would need to be shaped for to do the movements that I want to do. But I can get up and down, and that's fine. And it'll pass. It's to be expected when you have a giant immovable mass in your abdomen. So yeah. Now, we're going to talk about the other symptom, and why it's taken me 5 weeks to do an update. So I have kind of generalized anxiety anyway. I was treated for postpartum anxiety and depression after my second baby, and then after my fourth baby. And I have been doing fine this pregnancy. I've had a little bit of anxiety, but it hasn't really been anything awful until a couple weeks ago. For the last probably 4 weeks, my anxiety's been really ramping up. This is why I'm saying, like, I wasn't even sure if I'm going to share this video, because it's hard to talk about, because people assume when I say anxiety, like, oh, I'm just anxious about the pregnancy, or I'm just a little bit worried. But I'm talking about like legit, like clinical anxiety symptoms. Up until 2 weeks ago, I would have told you that I have like mild panic attacks. Now I would call those ramped up anxiety, because I've had legitimate panic attacks in the last 2 weeks, and they're awful. They're so bad. In fact, I'm going to read to you a list of symptoms of panic attacks and the ones that I've had. Okay, so this is from a website called Very Well Mind, but it does give a pretty accurate description. So it says, panic attacks typically come on suddenly, bringing on escalating feelings of dread and anxiety. These attacks are often marked by bothersome physical symptoms such as choking sensations, shaking, tingling, rapid heart rate, difficulty swallowing, and chest pain. You may experience feelings of depersonalization or derealization, in which you feel disconnected from yourself and the world around you. You may become fearful that you're going crazy, losing all control, or having a stroke or heart attack. In short, that's a pretty apt description of how I was feeling. My anxiety usually had just been like in the evenings. I'd feel a little bit anxious and a little bit twitchy, so Tim would usually rub my feet, and just like we would listen to music to go to sleep. And child interruption. I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, I would have anxiety. So to go to sleep, like I had a nighttime routine and it was working just fine. And then my anxiety just really started to ramp up. And I had a panic attack. I think it was like a week and a half ago. And it was awful. It was awful. I thought I was going to die. Like, I literally thought I was going to die. Not like I wanted to die or I was afraid I was going to harm myself or that I can't explain it any other way other than I did not feel like I was going to live through whatever was going on. It's just, it's awful. My heart would race. I get like where my breathing is really rapid and I have trouble slowing it down and it feels like I'm literally choking on something, like there's something stuck in my throat. My heart's racing. I get irregular heartbeats. Like it feels like my heart stops for a second, like palpitations. It's just awful. So I've been dealing with that. I've done a couple of things that have worked. I have been trying to find a doctor with no success. I think I've kind of figured out what the problem is, but I need a doctor to confirm it and to help. So I have Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune disorder where your body produces thyroid peroxidase antibodies, which basically attack your thyroid. So mine is not so advanced that my thyroid does not function at all. In the early stages of Hashimoto's, when your body's like attacking it and stuff, you can go between hypo and hyper. So you can go between your thyroid not working enough and it working too much. And I'm on medication for hypothyroid, and I believe that we're kind of at a point because estrogen levels and things like that can affect thyroid output. And when you're pregnant, your body produces more estrogen, particularly in the third trimester. So I think that my thyroid actually started functioning differently than it had been, and that I am now over-medicated for thyroid, which can cause you to go hyperthyroid. And the signs and symptoms of being hyper are very similar, and a lot of them are the same as general anxiety disorder and panic disorders. So like the anxiety, the panic attacks, like the acute panic attacks and stuff like that can be from just a panic disorder. They can also be from being hyperthyroid. So what I've done, I'm trying to get in to see a doctor and I will explain that in a second. But what I've done in the meantime is I have been very studious about taking my prenatal vitamins. I usually try and take them, but I'd forgotten and I'm not always diligent. So I've been taking my prenatal vitamins. I've been making sure I'm getting my vitamin D, making sure I'm taking my magnesium supplements because those can help with anxiety, and vitamin D can just help with mental well-being and things like that. I have some rescue remedy that I try if I'm starting to feel like a little bit anxious. I will take that. And that seems to help take the edge off and maybe kind of avert some of the panic attacks. I have vitamins, like gummy vitamins that I can chew that have GABA and L-theanine in them. Anyway, they have things in them that are supposed to help with brain chemistry and serotonin balancing, which all kind of tie into mental health and depression and anxiety and things like that. And that's just in the meantime. I noticed when I was in the midst of my worst anxiety and panic attacks, I had forgotten to take my thyroid pills for a couple of days. And then I started feeling better, and then I remembered, oh shoot, I haven't been taking my thyroid meds. So I took it that morning, and that night I had another panic attack. And so I was like, And I remember reading about the hyperthyroid stuff. So as an experiment, until I could get into a doctor, I did not take my thyroid meds for 2 days, and I did not have any panic attacks. And then I took it again on the third day, and I had another mild panic attack. So I really truly believe that my thyroid is out of whack and that I need to get my medication dosage adjusted. But I am 35 weeks pregnant. I do not have a regular OBGYN assigned to my care because we were seeing an OBGYN in Charlotte, and up till 20 weeks, we had our anatomy scan, we had all that stuff done. Everything was perfect. It was fine. Everything's been fine with me and the baby, and everything's been going good. I went to see a new OB here in my hometown, my new hometown, at 24 weeks, and for a laundry list of reasons, I did not go back to see him. It just was not a good fit. They were wanting to schedule my induction. They were talking about tying my tubes during my C-section. They were wanting me to get a DTaP vaccine, even though I've already had one and I'm current and I don't need one. And just all kinds of stuff. They wanted to do an internal vaginal exam, even though I'd already had one, but he hadn't done it. So he felt like he needed to, and I felt like that was more in my vagina than he needed to be. So that's just like a short list. So anyway, the short version is that it didn't work out with him. So that was at 24 weeks. I was supposed to go back at 28 weeks, but I had so much anxiety about seeing this doctor again that I could not mentally bring myself to go back into the office. So 28 weeks passed, and I was feeling good. I was feeling fine. I was like, it'll be fine, you know, we'll figure it out, whatever. Anyway, the point is, fast forward to when I start trying, I'm 33 weeks and I start trying to find a new provider. It turns out in the state of South Carolina, I can't speak to whether or not this is nationwide or whatnot, but in the state of South Carolina, the cutoff for new patients to be seen when they are pregnant is 28 weeks. So if you have not seen a provider at 28 weeks, they typically won't take you on as a new patient unless you're transferring directly from care. So in combination with the fact that I was past 28 weeks, I am what they consider advanced maternal age because I'm over the age of 35, and the fact that I had not been seen from 24 weeks to 33 weeks. So there was too long of a lapse in care. I was past 28 weeks and I'm a high-risk pregnancy. No OBGYN will see me. They consider it to be too high risk, and they see me as a liability rather than a new patient, so they won't see me. Which is, it's amazing. It's fantastic. I have so many things I could say about it. It's horrible. I reached out and said, you know, look, here's the deal. I know I haven't been seen in a while. Here's my medical record. My pregnancy has been uncomplicated. Baby's healthy. I'm healthy. I just have anxiety. I need to get my thyroid checked. Will you please take my care? And they basically said, no, sorry. So mental health issues are not important. Whatever. It's fine. I have strong feelings. But we have a game plan in place. The last office that I talked to, the lady was actually really helpful. She explained kind of like, here's where it's going. Like, this is why there's been this hiccup. This is why, you know, offices won't see you, da da da. She did tell me that I could go in to the hospital that we were looking into delivering at, which is where her practices. They have like 7 doctors that deliver at that hospital, and then there's 3 other doctors that deliver from a different practice. Both offices will take my insurance. And she said basically just go in through the emergency room, tell them you need to be transferred to labor and delivery, tell them you need to get checked out, you were transferring care and there was a lapse in care, and you just need to be seen, get your thyroid checked. And they will do that for me at the hospital, and then just when I go into labor, show up at the hospital, and of course they'll deliver the babies. So that's the plan for right now. If I need to, I can just go into labor and delivery. I'm not excited about it because it's flu season, and going into the ER when you're pregnant and at high risk, if you contract the flu, seems like a really bad idea. But it's the option that I have. So I will be going in the next couple days to get my thyroid tested to make sure that we're medicating properly and that everything is good there, and then having a game plan for that. And then of course, once he's here, I will get a primary care doctor that can see me and not have to worry about the pregnancy. And we'll get it all taken care of. But otherwise, we're ready for baby. Today, I ordered the last few things that I wanted to get before he was born from Target, and they will be delivered in the next few days, and so they will be all set up and ready to go. So that's where we're at 35 weeks. I feel like this is like a really long video, but I also really wanted to kind of document and share the realities of healthcare and mental illness when you're struggling. So I hope that that is helpful to somebody if you got to the end of this video, which is super duper long already. I apologize. So the last thing I'm going to do is show you my baby bump. I'm going to try and do this on the bed because my room is a disaster. As I said, I have been dealing with panic and anxiety and some things have fallen to the wayside, so I really don't want to show you the rest of my room. I also have a really pretty brand new bed comforter spread thing, but this little angel, you see this little angel baby right here? Yeah, he threw up on it right after I put it on my bed, so I had to take it off and wash it. Anyway, so this is baby bump. He's not down real low. He's not engaged. I'm still basically just all out front. His head is, I can feel it. Like if I go to if I was checking my cervix or whatever, I can feel his head at the bottom of my uterus. He's just not really engaged in my pelvis, so he hasn't dropped yet. But that'll come. Otherwise, just trucking along, growing a baby. So, yeah. I just want to thank you all for joining us today for this 35-week pregnancy update. If you want to see more updates and keep track of our progress and also see the sweet baby when he is born, then just like and subscribe down below so that you don't miss any videos. And we will see you back here again real soon. Bye.